What's up guys, I Will Finance, and today I want to talk about a topic that's honestly pretty controversial right now. And that's college. Is college actually worth it anymore, or is it just a scam? For decades, people were told that going to college was the best financial decision you can make. But today, tuition prices are higher than ever, student debt has passed $1.7 trillion, and a lot of graduates are questioning whether the degree was actually worth the cost. So in this video, I want to break down the real value of college and more importantly, give you 5 things I think you should think about before deciding to go. Because in my opinion, college can absolutely be worth it, but only if you approach it the right way. This topic is actually really relevant to me because I graduated college in December of 2024. And honestly, if I hadn't taken the path that I did, I don't think college would have been worth it financially. So here's what I did. Instead of going straight to a 4-year university, I started out at junior college for 2 years and then transferred to finish my degree. Because of that, my first 2 years of college were completely free, so basically I cut my tuition in half right away. Then, I transferred to a state university instead of a private or an out-of-state college, which allowed me to avoid the crazy cost of out-of-state tuition. In total, my entire college education cost me about $15,000. Which is dramatically lower than the national average. Right now, the average cost of a 4-year in-state degree is around $48,000, and if you go out of state, that number can jump to over $120,000. And private universities can cost even more than that, and trust me, I know. My dream college that I wanted to transfer to was USC, but after looking at those prices, I couldn't justify it even though I had gotten accepted. Would you believe me if I told you it was going to cost me $50,000 per year to attend a college? So when I see that people graduate with 6 figures of student loan debt, it's not that crazy to me. Now, I don't want this video to sound like I'm just bashing college because, in all honesty, I'm really glad I went. I made great memories, met a lot of amazing people, and I wouldn't be in the career I'm in now if I hadn't gotten my degree. But I do think a lot of people go to college without really thinking through the financial side of it. It's kind of become the norm once you graduate high school, just go to college. You kind of grow up thinking that that's what you're supposed to do. I still think college is a great option, but if you're planning on going to college, here are 5 things you should seriously consider first. The first thing I would strongly recommend is starting at a junior college. A lot of people overlook this option because they feel like they're missing out on the college experience. And to an extent, this is true. That first year of college when you're forced to live in the dorms is a great time to meet people that you'll continue to be friends with throughout college. And I did miss out on this experience, but financially it made sense. Most junior colleges cost a fraction of the price of a university, and in some cases like mine, your first 2 years can be completely free. And for the most part, those first 2 years of college, you're mostly just taking general education classes anyways. Subjects like English, math, history, and science. Those classes are almost identical whether you take them at a university or a community college. And I know this for a fact because I had friends that went away for college and we compared classes and they were exactly the same. What wasn't the same though was the price. That differed by about $10,000. So if you can save money early on and then transfer later, it can massively reduce your student loan debt. The second thing I would ask you to strongly consider is in-state versus out-of-state versus private institutions. A lot of students dream about going to some big out-of-state university. It's what you see in the movies, it's what you hear in songs. And while that can be an amazing experience, it also comes with a massive price tag. Out-of-state tuition is often 2 to 3 times higher than in-state tuition. And private universities can sometimes cost $50,000 to $70,000 per year to factor in housing and other expenses. That means you can easily graduate with $200,000 in student loans. So before choosing a school, it's really important to ask yourself, is the extra cost actually worth it for my career path? Because in many industries, employers care much more about your skills and experience than the name of the school on your diploma. And this is true in my case. I didn't go to the fancy private university. I went to a state college, and my employer didn't even look at where I went to college when applying, and didn't bring it up once in the interview. So keep that in mind when choosing a university. The third thing you should seriously consider is your major. This is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll make during college. Different degrees lead to very different income levels. For example, fields like engineering, computer science, finance, nursing often lead to higher paying careers right out of school, but other majors may lead to jobs that pay much lower salaries, which can make it harder to justify taking on a lot of student loan debt. That doesn't mean you shouldn't follow something you're passionate about, but it does mean you should understand the financial return on your degree before committing to it. Because taking on $100,000 in debt for a career that pays $40,000 a year can be extremely difficult to manage and ultimately make it feel like it wasn't worth getting that degree. The fourth thing I want you guys to consider is other alternatives to college. One of the good things about this generation is that kids growing up are realizing college isn't the only path to success. There are a lot of great careers that don't require a degree at all. For example, skilled trades like electricians, plumbers, and HVAC techs can earn $70,000 to $120,000 a year, sometimes even more with experience. There are also opportunities in sales, entrepreneurship, online business, and content creation that, because of the internet, people now have more ways than ever to build an income without a degree. So college can still be great, but it's not the only option. My last piece of advice, which I would also say is the most important piece, is just to have a plan before going to college. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of students go to school simply because it feels like the next step after high school. But college is a major financial investment. So before you enroll, it's very important that you think about what career you want and how much that career typically pays, and also how much debt you're willing to take on, and whether your degree will actually help you reach your goals. If you go to college with a clear plan, it can absolutely be one of the best investments you ever make. But if you go without a plan, it can also lead to years of unnecessary debt. So, in conclusion, is college a scam? Not necessarily, but going to college without thinking about the financial consequences definitely can be. College is a tool, so use it like one. And like any tool, it can either build your future or become a very expensive mistake, depending on how you use it. If you liked this video or had any challenges to anything I said, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. Thank you so much, you guys.